Misogyny, like a rocket fuel charging me. Misogyny, your boundaries don't apply to me. I love the brothels where no one makes demands for reason, where I pretend I'm a rock star for just one more season.
Can I give this to you in a minute, Mary? Are you ready?
Like a rocket fuel charging me. Misogyny, your boundaries don't apply to me. I love the brothels where no one.
That's us.
The lights blow the moms out now. Our children are safe for today.
Can we turn it round? Oh, shut up. I think it might be upside down, Mary.
Slogans and cries and the deadest of eyes when they rant about stunning and brave. But the whole town agrees, even Brighton is still just a fat bloke named Dave. The lights blow the moms out now. Our children are
Upside down, it must be.
our bravery grows and our voices will last. And this year we sing Merry Christmas.
Fiddly-dee! Go. No.
They've got labels galore and a cult keeping score, and they shriek if
That'll
you
be
don't
it.
kiss their
I want to do
ass.
that.
But the women hold fast, cause biology lasts. And no, Dave, you still don't.
Okay, it's gonna go again. Ready, wait.
One to the fire and the lights glow, the mums shout.
No!
Our children are safe for today. Our bravery grows and our voices will last. And this year we sing Merry
This is the video, isn't it? No! Right, one more, there's one more.
You pervert, you
Invader, you woman invader.
Know what you are, silly man. Lipstick on a pig, some Dave in a wig. Flash little girls when you can.
Out of Ireland. No!
Our children are safe for today. Our bravery grows and our voices will last. And this year we sing Merry Christmas.
No!
Our children are safe for today. Our bravery grows and our voices will last. This year we sing
Merry Toughness. Oh! Are you ready? One more and then we'll start. I don't care. I don't mind. Right, one more. You ready?
You stand on the edge of
Oh, shut up.
a whisper. Our voices are deep and so low.
I don't know what I did then. Sorry.
The words now rise like the ocean, and the sadness that only we know.
We'll start in a minute.
Oh, my
Yeah.
adult human female, not hard to define, but they twist and turn.
We'll start in a minute.
Women's dignity discarded, our rage begins to build.
It's a great song.
Let women speak, let the truth ring clear.
You better learn this.
They refuse to hear. Breaking the silence, breaking the spell. We are the women. We're
Raised in hell. Can you do a few? Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you.
We'll never give up. We'll stop this fight. This
Oh yeah.
suffering. You're bruised, but just remember we never lose. As her voice rises, she finds her power. At the top of her lungs, she screams, "He's a man! This is our space. It's how we stand."
Look who's come to join us.
Oh, yeah. Graham.
Yes.
Let the fire burn, no compromise. Let women speak. Let the truth ring clear.
Right on Thursday after the...
Yes. After our event.
I mean, here's a nice little letter.
Breaking
Or here's something that says,
breaking itself. We are the women. We're rising. Speak. Let the truth ring clear. Shouting for all these years. You chose not to Let the truth ring clear. We've been shouting, but they refuse to hear. Breaking the silence, breaking the spell. We are the women.
Right, let's go.
We're raising hell.
Okay, down to business. Well, hang on. Hello. Mary? Hello? Hello? Mary? Is this not plugged in? Is that the wrong one? Hello? Oh, fuck off. No, it's been on charge all night. It's not working. We'll just have the one speaker.
really?
Yeah, it's just gone orange. Charged it all night long. All night long. Fuck.
Fortunately, the echo will probably be quite good here.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Let Women Speak. So we are gathered here today by the BBC, Big Boys Club. And the reason we felt it essential to come and stand outside of the BBC is they seem to have been captured by a nonsensical, quasi-religious, dangerous cult called transgenderism. Can we come out of the road so that these people can get by? Thank you. He took a leaflet, so, you know, it's like a ticket. So the BBC over the last few years, you would imagine, will have covered the danger of puberty blockers, danger of what's happening in women's spaces. You'd think they'd call a rapist a man. You would think all these things would be true, and yet our state-funded broadcaster is more likely to endorse the imprisonment of a woman from a non-payment of license fee to go and share a prison cell with a male rapist. That's our BBC. What was that? Oh yes, they are traitors. So you're talking to me. I'm quite a traitor. So over the years, we've had to listen to the BBC using female language for men, and often not even discussing these issues at all. Woman's Hour, which was a very short spell in BBC history of having an entire hour for women. We were so lucky. Got taken over by the trans cult, and then they refused to talk about women's issues anymore, and frequently they would centre men in dresses, AGPs, perverts, whatever you want to call them. Dave often is the name I like to refer to them, because they're often very dull, heterosexual men in their 50s who have given up the plumbing and started wearing dresses and forcing their wives to pretend that they're called lesbians. And the BBC have saw fit, because they haven't had a bad history of paedophiles. Oh, there he is. I'm surprised he's not wearing a dress. It would be so much more stunning and brave. But from Jimmy Savile to right now, the BBC is far more likely to protect predatory men over discussing the concerns of women and the safeguarding of children. And I think that as a collective, we women should not pay our license fee. I think it ends. I mean, they might end anyway. And can I just say, I adore Donald Trump. I hope he sues this organisation into history books. I really do.
Should it be the other way around? Should we got that in the background?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that, Mary. But I have a feeling that is that going to reverb these? Okay. Yeah, but now I'm talking to no one. No, you're right. You're right. Obviously, you're right, Mary. No, you're right, Mary. So children's BBC, that would be safe, right? Children's BBC, CBBS, that would be nice and safe. And yet, they did a programme called I Am Leo, where Penny, child catcher, Carmichael from the Tavistock, lied, Polly. I mean, maybe she was Penny. What's her name? Polly. Polly Carmichael, the steriliser at large of healthy children. She said on the BBC, on CBBS or a CBBC programme, that puberty blockers were completely reversible. And they featured this girl, clearly just a very unhappy girl. They featured her journey through the Tavistock clinic, where at the other side she ends up infertile and probably with no sexual function as an adult. And that's something on our CBBC. So this organisation, right from the very top, is totally rotten, with, I would imagine, overpaid men and stupid women who probably aren't as overpaid, let's face it. And it's totally captured by this transgender ideology, which means that our state broadcaster is just no longer fit for purpose. And that's why we're here. Okay? Is that all right? All right. This Let Women Speak is an organisation that isn't, we don't have a licence fee, and we tell the truth. So very, very different. We do accept very large donations, so it's fine. But we are a global organisation of women where we platform women's voices first, but men are allowed. They just have to wait. Okay, so who else would like to speak? Oh, come on. Yes.
Do I have to press anything?
No, you do not. Just stand and turn it on.
Dear Auntie B. Dear. This, a couple of years ago, on the flagship news programme, Newsnight, they had a drag queen talking about the Middle East crisis. And I am not joking. I sat there and watched it, and I thought, this is surreal. Is this brass eye? Has Chris Morris, is he the guest editor here? It's laughable. And then it might have been the Today programme, or probably Woman's Hour. They were talking about men in women's sports. And they had two men and two trans-identified men. And people wrote in to complain, and on feedback, they said, oh, no, it was a mixed panel. We had two men and two trans women. It is laughable. It's a joke. This organisation is a bloody joke. But it's not just that it's funny, it's harmful. And they push gender identity ideology as fact in children's programmes on CBBC, CBBS and BBC Bite-Sized to Schools. It is disgusting, it is harmful, and it needs to stop.
Yes, thank you. Amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, come. So just, if you just stand here, just for the optics. Yeah, don't fall back off the step.
Yeah, okay.
Nice and close.
Yes. Good afternoon. As some of you will know already, I'm a trans widow. I have read in the Daily Telegraph last week about a letter that has been written to the appeal body from somebody better edit this.
No, there's no edit.
The body which takes appeals when Ofcom, it's to Ofcom, about the children from the Bayswater support group, and they were able to list a huge list of complaints that they'd made to the BBC, and which were completely ignored by the BBC, or they were given completely spurious responses, as we all know. Now, that set me thinking that trans widows could do the same with a much reduced caseload, unfortunately. But I have found, using Grok for the first time, that there is one documentary that was made in 2019, which is not on BBC Sounds, so I'm going to have to do some digging. But there is also a news report fairly recently about somebody called Worsley in a care home, and he became she, and his wife had some appalling, life-threatening health problem at the same time, and the BBC's account completely said nothing whatsoever about this poor woman. Anyway, if anybody would like to get in touch with me, can you please come and speak to me if you can remember any discussion whatsoever on radio, TV, anything from the BBC over the years, because I'm trying to put a case together. Thank you.
Thank you. I forgot to say in front of this building something that they haven't been saying for the last few years. So I thought I'd say it, which is, no woman has a penis! No man has a vagina! There's no such thing as non-binary! And transitioning children is profound abuse. It's so cult-like when you repeat it, but thank you. I feel like I am leading a new cult of truth. It's amazing. It's gone out of fashion. So we're here at the BBC because they haven't discussed this. And what I do know from somebody who works at Ofcom is it never occurred to Ofcom or the BBC that by activists refusing to come and speak, that it prevented any debate whatsoever. And this was their method, and it was very, very successful, that the trans activists would not come and talk about why they wanted to steal women's rights and sterilize children. And so that meant that we couldn't talk about that issue at all, which has helped the BBC not talk about this whatsoever. And even when they do, they're rude. When they interviewed Graham Linehan, they were rude and just facetious and dishonest. And that's been happening the whole time. It's almost like it hasn't occurred to them that there's quite a lot of people across the country who still have total capacity to use their brains, and that we all know that women can't be men, men can't be women, and men in women's spaces presents an absolute danger to women, to all of us women, even the morons that go along with it. Anyway, okay, who else would like to speak? Yes. Hi. Oh, good. Off the cuff is great.
Right.
And just be careful, don't step back.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Am I supposed to speak to the camera, or can I? Hi, everybody. It's good to see such a turnout. I'm not going to be able to remember what I was going to say, but there are two things. One, that the BBC has never, ever mentioned the WPATH files, ever, which is one of the most important things about what's just about to happen, which is a puberty blocker trial, when we know that WPATH, whoever they really are, a bunch of AGPs, she said. I can't remember where I was, but they have admitted that already that there's no evidence and that children can't consent. They have admitted it. I mean, I can't think of anything more vital than the very organisation that plugs and proposes this idea that you can block children's puberty have actually said it. And the other thing is I've got a little meme that I want to go wild, and that is puberty is the transition. I mean, is it not obvious? When kids go through puberty, they transition from child to adult, and every child deserves that transition. God, I'm really nervous. Thank you. Thank you. Do I need to give? Oh, do I need to give you something? That.
Yes, thank you very much. Just don't step off the back.
Hi. I wanted to name some people.
Really, really loud into the
Okay.
microphone.
Hi. Jimmy Savile, Stuart Hall, Rolf Harris, Chris Denning, Jonathan King, Hugh Edwards, Duncan Bartlett, Ben Thomas. What do they all have in common? They're all sex offenders employed by the BBC. And the 2013 Freedom of Information response revealed that there was 81 current or former staff since Savile, and there's been at least 20 counted since 2013. If GB News had one paedophile in their staff, it would be shut down tomorrow. They wouldn't. It's unbelievable the BBC get away with this. So they had a review and they agreed there was a culture of fear, deference to stars, a failure to act on rumours, and loads of lost and missed opportunities. And the BBC apologised, promised to strengthen its child protection, whistleblowing policies, training, etc. Did they learn? Let's look at the evidence. They did a documentary following a Syrian family. One of the sons, Omar Badreddin, had been tried for sexual assault of a 14-year-old girl. The alleged paedophile simply told the BBC reporter that the girl was a racist and they labelled her far right. They interviewed the boy's father, who said that the allegations were worse than what the family went through in Syria due to the dishonour it brought in the family. Omar Badreddin is now serving 18 years in prison after being found guilty of 5 counts of rape and violent disorder, alongside his brother and 2 other men who are part of a grooming gang who abused girls aged between 12 and 14. So did they listen to rumours? No. Many of us complained to the BBC and they gave a standard statement which says the BBC can only report on the facts as they see them at the time, which is what we did in 2016, and they referred to the subsequent crimes which they found was appalling. So they still don't believe the girl, even though he went on to get caught for it. They called her a racist, and they still think that not to listen to girls. They always take the side of the paedophile, they never take the side of the victim. I've also written to them numerous times about their coverage of trans issues, and they use their style guide as a defence. When they were members of Stonewall, they agreed to refer to psychopathic male murderers like Scarlett Blake as women. Totally misleading the public into believing, they misled the public into believing a woman killed a man with her bare hands. One of the worst departments is BBC Sports, which seems to be headed up by a TRA. I'm currently in dispute with them over an interview BBC reporter Amal Rajan did with Martina Navratilova on the 18th of June. She stated that males had an advantage of male puberty even if they reduced their testosterone. Mr. Rajan edited the interview to insert a comment that other research has suggested trans athletes are in some ways at a physical disadvantage. Now that's some claim. They're not even saying they're at the same level as women, but they're actually at a physical disadvantage to women. So I complained, and I got told that Mr. Rajan had done extensive research and preparation to ensure it was fair and duly accurate. So I then went back to him and asked him for the research, because I've never seen anything. And they sent me a research by Hamilton et al. 2024. They stated it was a study at the University of Brighton, which was laboratory-based, peer-reviewed and funded by a research grant from the Olympic Committee. Are you all impressed? I was. Look at the first name on it, Dr. Blair Hamilton. Type his name into your phone and you'll find out he's a trans-identified male who plays in women's football. So the entire research is corrupted by that fact. It's totally biased. So I've written back to them again. I found out a bit more about it, that this research was used in the Harriet Haynes case, and the court found that it was reasonable to conclude that Hamilton et al. Studied a group of transgender women who may have engaged in health promotion exercise, but certainly did not engage in vigorous strength training or other exercise necessary to be a competitive athlete. They concluded that they actually showed male pattern sporting advantage. In other words, Dr. Hamilton compared fat, non-athletic men to normal weight, fit, athletic women. And even then, the men still had a strength advantage. I asked them we found out about their LGBTQ deaths, so I'm presuming it's them that came up with this research and passed it to the sports department. I complained to them about Zoe Watts, referred to as a woman in their reporting of the court case. I said it was misleading because women need to know that this is a violent man. He's now got 8.5 years for having weapons that were capable of causing a lot of damage. And the response I got was they feel the article was fair, jury accurate and in line with the BBC guidelines. Not only that, but they sent me another article whereby the judge has expressed sympathy for Zoe Watts, saying that custody would be more difficult for Watts because of her neurodivergence, her previous police career and her transgender identity. In other words, they don't give a damn about women's well-being and if we know that this is a violent man or not. It's all about us feeling sorry for him. And there remains a culture of fear within the BBC. Maxine Croxall was disciplined for saying pregnant women instead of pregnant people. Justin Webb was disciplined for saying trans women, otherwise male. Kath Watson, a journalist, was disciplined for posts saying there was no evidence males can be women. Kath Lee was BBC saying she was forced out because of her gender critical views, and they continue to host sex offenders well after Jimmy Savile within their staff, and they see victims as liars. And the BBC management remain narcissistically arrogant and refuse to accept their bias. Deborah Turness, who's just recently resigned as head of news, strongly denies any allegation of institutional bias. That's why we are the world's most trusted news provider, she says. Total delusional.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, it's worth remembering that BBC, there is women get pregnant. We don't say pregnant person. Didn't they do the breastfeeding story as well? So the BBC have been gaslighting women and the general public for such a long time now. Let's face it, they knew well before we did what Hugh Edwards had been accused of. Like, they do seem to have this thing for predatory men. They seem to quite like them. Good entertainment value, apparently. But I don't know, call me old-fashioned, but I'd rather not have paedophiles on television. Unless it was some sort of live execution or something. That would be all right for me. Anyway, who else would like to... Right, there's... Yeah, so... Do you want me to hold anything? Do you want me to hold it? Don't be polite.
I should be okay.
Okay, nice and close to your face. And then we give you this. All right. Thank you.
BBC, please listen, because you have not been impartial reporters, but you have allowed bias and dishonesty to mislead and endanger the public. In short, you are promoting an agenda which continues to harm women and children. I will illustrate my assertion with one of very many cases. John was arrested after he used hospital Wi-Fi to buy images of child sexual abuse and torture while he recovered from a heart attack in his hospital bed. He was already known to police. He had amassed 81,000 images, nearly 700 of which were category A of rape and torture of children. The court documented him as a man, yet you, the BBC, reported him as a woman because he sometimes went by the name of Julie and wore a skirt. So he was an occasional cross-dresser, yet you misinformed the public that he was a woman. When we rightly object to this lie, we are countered with, well, how does it affect you? Let them live their lives in peace and show respect. So there are several reasons why truth about sex is important to us, and John demonstrates this. The year before they found his 81,000 images, he was admitted to a women's psychiatric ward. This was a locked 6-bedded ward with only a curtain separating the patients. A woman was already staying there. She was in psychosis with paranoid delusional beliefs that all men were infiltrating and trying to kill her, even her husband. So she needed a female-only ward in which to get well. But John's wishes were prioritized. Of course, she immediately knew he was a man. He was 6 foot, broad-shouldered, a very male-bodied man, she said, and he wandered around in a short dressing gown. So her paranoia actually partly became reality, that a man had infiltrated, and she was being gaslit by staff that he was a woman. She was moved to another unit 2 days later. There was a severe shortage of beds at that time, so it may be that another woman was bumped out and discharged early. She was severely mentally ill, but was recorded in the notes as reacting with transphobia. A nurse sat her down and implied that she was bigoted. When this woman recovered, she waived anonymity and spoke to the local press. And when she relapsed later in the year, she was scared to seek help because she'd been so betrayed. So do you see, BBC, how reporting matters? She immediately recognized his sex. His gender identity, or whatever it was irrelevant. Her needs were suddenly downgraded. She was blamed in the medical records, which, like BBC reporting, should be objective. Another important reason for truth in reporting about sex offending is that there may be more victims, and very often there are many, many more. And sure enough, another woman came forward. He had raped her repeatedly when she was a little girl, and he got convicted for that as well. The extraordinary thing is that as the NHS is as captured as you are, that he will be admitted to a women's ward in the future, because Annex B still stands. It is up to a man can choose wherever he is accommodated in the NHS still. This betrayal is happening in hospitals throughout the UK now, but it is not recorded anywhere because the NHS digital record holds these men as female, not trans. So can you see, BBC, why truth matters and how that tiny little accommodation of she, her has destroyed safeguarding? When you collude with John, who today pretends he is Julie, even in defiance of court reporting, you can be covering for a sex criminal, and you are easing his passage throughout women-only spaces where children also are. I have taken a day off from the hospital ward where I care for very vulnerable and disabled women. Our job is to safeguard them, not gaslight and lie to them, not open their ward to men, including sex-offending men. We do not consent to this grotesque lie. We have been raising the alarm for years, and we, like this female patient I mentioned, we receive insults that we are bigoted, transphobic, and in need of re-education and cancellation. No. In your acquiescence to these men, you're perpetuating and platforming their lie. You have made the world less safe for women and children. Please talk to us and listen. It's time. Thank you to Kellie-Jay Keen for making this opportunity to speak in public. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I just clapped myself. Thank you so much. I personally know the woman that you're referring to. And it wasn't until years after that she saw him in the newspaper and she called me and she said, it's him. So all along, all the women were afraid of him. They all knew. And they were all silenced in a place. And there's another lady here, I don't know if she'll speak, who's done a lot of work on the abuse of women in psychiatric accommodations and the sort of level of sexual assault that happens and how these women are just not believed. I don't know if she'll speak. She might do. Okay, who else would like to speak? Yes. Oh, hang on, let me just... Did you want... Are you going to come and speak? Come on. Are you all right? Are you able to hold this at the same time? Yeah? Okay, nice and close. And let me give you this. Okay, lovely. Thank you.
Here's something you won't hear on the BBC. Last month in the US, the CDC have revised their position on the statement, vaccines do not cause autism. Key points from their website, should you wish to do your own research, are as follows. Claim vaccines do not cause autism is not an evidence-based claim because studies have not ruled out the possibility that infant vaccines cause autism. Studies supporting a link have been ignored by health authorities. The Department of Health and Human Services has launched a comprehensive assessment of the causes of autism, including investigations on plausible biologic mechanisms and potential causal links. That there is now deemed to be any possibility of underlying causation is a significant reversal of the official narrative that autism is genetic, archaic, and just better diagnosed these days. And long-term investors in that narrative are getting nervous. There will be nothing to see here, everything's fine. The science, they say, unlike your relentlessly screaming insomniac child's digestive system, is settled. Overnight, the CDC have gone from trusted authorities to dangerous fearmongers, if you can see how that works yet. Under the microscope will be a spectrum of pharmaceutical products, which are all defined in legal terms, unavoidably unsafe, while paradoxically marketed as safe and effective. It will be interesting to discover, at least for the generally under-informed public, if observable symptoms of chronic neurotoxicity may be linked to intentional neurotoxic exposures, and if water may be wet. Almost 40 years since the Reagan-era National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act of 1986, pharmaceutical companies have enjoyed a special liability-free business operation, having been gifted carte blanche to play alchemist with public health and make a packet in the process, turning aluminium and mercury into gold. What will it be like in the future, Mummy? Meanwhile, parents of vaccine-injured, now dependent adult children who trusted their doctors, who did their duty and whose forgotten offspring took one for the team, have been shouting for help into a dimly gaslit void for decades. What happens to those children when their carers are gone? The extreme stress of trying to cope with a newly and severely disabled child while trying to maintain employment, relationships and sanity, trying to raise the alarm at grassroots level about medical injury, institutional corruption, denialism and cancellation of whistleblowers, while being ghosted, ridiculed, smeared, betrayed and punched down upon by peers can take a cumulatively toxic toll. Now there is hope they will finally be vindicated when they should have been heard from the start. Like that paper actually concluded, further investigations are needed, which if this really was about protecting children's health, would have commenced immediately.
So when we have the results in the not so distant future, and that the truth can no longer be ignored or suppressed, then the class action lawsuits can begin.
Can I grab the microphone as well? Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm sure there will be a very balanced programme discussing all of those issues raised on the BBC. It'll be interesting to see whether or not this is at all mentioned even on a regional news. If anyone is a man LARPing as a woman, if you'd like to come forward, I think we might get some coverage. Probably first thing on the agenda. Okay, who else would like to speak? Yes? Oh, just one moment. Yes? Very welcome. Oh, God. Good job I got Mary, isn't it? Good job I got Mary. Oh, I'm so sorry.
You'd be lost without her.
Well, I don't know if I'd be lost.
Right, BBC. I paid about £900 in licence fee to the BBC over the last 5 years to get impartial news and information. I feel like I've been a bit cheated. I've got an issue with your definition, of the word impartial. I think it must mean something different to my interpretation. What I've actually been given over the last 5 years is a diet of drag queens, almost daily sometimes, I think several times a day on some days. So men parodying women on a very regular basis. I have been given trans-identified men, or as you like to call them, trans women, or just women usually, shoehorned into every programme that you can possibly shoehorn them into, and also on quizzes, anything. And one of the best ones, I think, and actually before I, just going back to what Kellie-Jay, I think, or someone was saying earlier, about the CBBC programmes about I Am Leo, there was also one in 2020 which was about a trans-identified girl called, I think, Hannah, called First Day, in which everyone has to accept Hannah and be understanding towards Hannah, and anyone who questioned the fact that Hannah was actually a boy, well, obviously that's you can't do that. Even though Hannah is obviously actually a boy. And how is it kind to tell a 12-year-old boy that, yes, you can be a girl, when you know it is going to lead to a lifetime of medicalisation, a lifetime involving surgeries, maybe growing breasts, castration? How come? Oh, sorry, if we're looking, castration, and that is where we're going to lead to for these people. Rather than just telling that boy, you're actually a boy, actually, and there's two sexes, humans can't change sex, you're a boy, yeah, okay, you need to just get on and live as a boy, have a lovely, happy life, wear dresses if you want, you can call yourself a different name if you want, but you are a boy, okay? So that's another programme that was on. Anyway, I digress. Back to the other programme that I wanted to talk about, which was doctors. I think we know about doctors. Now, you did cover a transgender story on doctors. Riveting to those that might watch it. I only watched a bit of it on the highlights. Now, the thing is with doctors, you cover all these doctor issues. I think I must have gone out on the day that the autistic girl came in her 20s and said, Doctor, I have been groomed into gender ideology. I have been binding my breasts and I had my breasts chopped off. Then I had my arms stripped of skin to make a fake penis. And now, in my late 20s, in my more horrendous mistake, I'm actually a girl. And now I'm feeling suicidal because suicidal tendencies is 19 times more likely to commit suicide as a trans person who has had operations, medically transitioned, than you are if you haven't. I think I missed that storyline. I don't know about anyone here whether they saw that storyline. No. I think I must have been out walking the dog on the day that they covered the story of the young man who had gone to university and been given a trans-identified tutor and been groomed into gender ideology and have taken hormones and maybe been castrated, and then suddenly, at the end of it, he's woken up and think, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? Gone to the doctor and said, doctor, I've got no penis and no testicles. I've made a horrendous mistake. I think I missed that one as well, because that story where he feels suicidal as well, I missed that one on doctors. I missed both those storylines on doctors. Now, when are you going to actually start letting people know what is going on with some of these young people? Because there's been practically no programmes on detransitioners, practically none. There's a lot of people in this country as well, parents, who still think that when their child says, oh, I'm non-binary, they think that means their child is something akin to being a goth or a punk. It's a little phase their child will go through, they'll come out the other end. They do not know that these children are being groomed and these children are being encouraged to medicalise. They don't know as well that these children, once they're 18, can go to a private gender clinic and be given a prescription for cross-sex hormones in the first hour's appointment. Parents do not know this, and parents need telling, and it is your job as our public broadcaster to make parents aware of what is going on in our schools, in our universities, and the fact that this can happen to their children, that their children can get access to these private gender clinics and can get prescriptions within the first hour appointment. And you do not cover that at all. In the time, in 2020, when X was not owned by Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg was still busy taking down, and not him personally, sorry Mark, not you personally, when X and Facebook were taking down posts, gender critical posts, and banning gender critical accounts that was talking about this sort of thing, it should have been the job of the BBC to inform the public that this sort of thing was going on, and you were not there doing that. And in the meantime, children have been groomed into this ideology. And parents have lost children, brothers and sisters have lost their brothers and sisters, and these children, many of them will never come back, many of them will go on through life like this, but some of them are going to realise, they're going to wake up and realise, and they're going to wake up to that regret every single morning. And you're not letting people know this is going on. Anyway, that's my bit about gender ideology. But I've got one more thing not so quick, Kellie-Jay, not so quick. One more thing to say, and this is about the reporting, because it's supposed to be unbiased reporting. Now, recently there was a court case, and it was Tommy Robinson. Now, love him or hate him, yeah, Tommy Robinson deserved a fair trial, and Tommy Robinson deserved fair reporting. Now, the BBC correspondent that went to report on that, as part of his report, at the end of his report, he mentioned about Tommy Robinson, the public gallery was filled with Tommy Robinson supporters, and that one of those supporters was wearing a mega hat. First of all, how does that reporter know who those people were in that public gallery? Did he go and ask them all? No, he made an assumption that every single person in that public gallery would have been a supporter of Tommy Robinson. First assumption. Second assumption, that the person wearing a hat, if indeed there was one, was a Tommy Robinson supporter. And the other thing, he missed out a few things, because rumour has it, now the BBC might be able to clarify whether this is true or false, that reporter also reported another independent reporter to the court because he didn't like the fact that he was there reporting. Now, we'd like some clarification on that, BBC. Did the BBC reporter actually report an independent reporter to the court because he didn't like him there reporting? I don't know. I don't know. Tell me. I don't know, BBC. Let me know. But the other thing, when he reported from there, he didn't actually report any of the comments that the police, some of the very important comments the police made in court. If you'd like to see those, I suggest you can go online and look at some of the YouTubers, because they were reporting those comments that the BBC did not report. The other thing I'd like to see very quickly is on Question Time and everything. Kellie-Jay Keen is a leader of a legitimate political party within the UK. That party is called the Party of Women. Where is any mention of the Party of Women on the coverage? Where is she on the panels? Where is she on Question Time? Where is she? Because you say you represent us, then do it. Represent us. We want to see ourselves represented. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary said she wants a musical interlude, so I think we can have one.
Oh, she's, hang on. She wants to sing. Well done. Oh, no, hang on.
Was it a bit too much?
No, that's brilliant. Well done.
Thank you.
By a big Christmas tree where the choir sang free, we were.
Oh!
The copper flashed his knickers, saying I'll arrest you for stickers. He said his name was Janet this year.
They've got pronouns for liars. Days simply don't pass.
Yeah, was it okay? Not too much.
Money racer, we know what you are, silly man. Lipstick on a pig, some Dave in a wig. Flash little girls when you can. On Turf Island, the lights glow, the mums shout, no! Our children are safe for today. Our bravery grows and our voices will last. And this year we sing Merry Turfmas. Turf Island is glowing, frosty air, all is snow and Christmas wishes for you and for me. No man in our spaces and out of our faces. You scumbag, grotesque AJP. Turf Island, the lights glow, the moms shout, no! Our children are safe for today. Our bravery grows and our voices will last. And this year we sing Merry Turfmas.
They've got slogans and cries and the deadest of eyes when they rant about stunning and brave. But the whole town agrees, even Brighton decrees. You're still just a fat bloke named Dave.
On Turf Island, the lights glow, the mums shout, no! Our children are safe for today. Our bravery grows and our voices will last. And this year we sing Merry Turfmas. Galore and a cult keeping score, and they shriek if you don't kiss their arse. But the women hold fast, 'cause biology lost. And no, Dave, you still don't pass. On Turf Island, the lights glow, the mums shout, no! Our children are safe for today. Our bravery grows and our voices will last. And this year we sing Merry Turfmas. On Turf Island, the lights glow, the mums shout, no! Our children are safe for today. Our bravery grows and our voices will last. And this year we sing Merry Turfmas.
They've got tantrums and tears and validation fears, and they beg for applause from the class. But the girls stand their ground, 'cause the truth comes around. And no, Dave, you'll never pass.
You pervert, you invader, gross woman, eraser. We know what you are, silly man. Lipstick on a pig, some Dave in a wig. Flash little girls when you can. Onto the fire and the lights go, the mums shout no. Our children are safe for today. Our bravery grows and our voices will last. And this year we sing Mary Turf must. Onto the fire and the lights go, the mums shout no. Our children are safe for today. Our bravery grows and our voices will last. And this year we sing Mary Turf must.
Thought you needed a little bit of oomph. Why? Lipstick on a pig. I wonder if you saw that amazing event that's coming up with all those superb people raising money for the fox killer. Did you see? Stephanie Hayden, I believe, is Fat Tony, is having a little spin. Anyway, what a lovely man. Okay, so the BBC, when was it? 2018, I put a billboard up with a dictionary definition of the word woman on it, and it was taken down for hate speech. And I'm just thinking, I remember all the panel shows, because obviously that's quite a funny thing to happen, quite a crazy thing to happen. I mean, it did make the BBC News, and that was back at the time when I think they called me a feminist vlogger rather than an anti-trans campaigner. But that didn't get mentioned on any of the panel shows. In fact, none of the BBC's supposed comedy panel shows, although if you ever listen to Radio 4 comedy now, it's so dire. But that's what happens when comedy goes woke. It's kind of loses its comedy value. And satire you just can't do anymore because it's all satire. But they haven't discussed any of these issues really at all, except to say something scathing about J.K. Rowling. Like they just haven't bothered saying anything about how ridiculous it is, about the drag queens in sort of doing kids' story time. I mean, just a child catcher reference would have been funny, just once. But they haven't discussed any of these issues at all, and I would have thought it is very, very ripe for comedy because it's so fucking ridiculous. But anyway, I can't see any drag queens still, so we're not going to get any coverage. Anybody else like to speak? Yes. Yeah, so whatever conversation you've just had. Sorry.
Cheers, lovely. Okay. Tell me when I'm on. Oh, I'm on. Right, okay. I'm still out of puff from all that lovely jumping around. Okay, so I want to talk about the BBC. We're here today, and I specifically want to talk about their coverage after the Supreme Court ruling. I found myself in a collective groan with probably millions of women across the UK at the disgusting biased coverage. They basically trotted out man after man in dresses to talk about how distressed they were at the ruling, how it had affected them, how it was so awful that now they won't be able to go into women's spaces. Not one woman for days and days before they decided they would interview women on the other side of the discussion. On the TV and even on the radio, when they did finally interview the women, the hosts, instead of listening to the arguments and the discussions, they almost couldn't wait to ask these women how they felt about the distress it might be causing the men. Again, I found myself like a mad woman shouting at the telly, "How dare you?"
And I personally, because of this kind of coverage, to the fact they even had a barrister who said in everything but the literal words, ignore the ruling because we're going to appeal it. I hold the BBC responsible for those disgusting marches of hundreds of men threatening violence against women, bearing their ridiculous false chests and urinating on monuments because they were stirred up by that kind of coverage to believe that the BBC and that the country were on their side. And I want to let them know that half of the country, more than half, because I know most men do not agree with them. And I just want to say, once again, I hold the BBC responsible for that. Anyone who saw that, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No problem.
Who else would like to speak? Oh, microphone.
Well said. Microphone.
Oh, yeah.
Who else would like to speak? One of those. Yes, come. Yeah. You hold that.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I just wondered if anyone, really thought it was odd that there was because we've been talking about paedophilia and, right here?
Yeah, and a bit like that.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
That there's a statue of a man with a naked boy that's built into the building of the BBC in the 1930s. Does anyone think that's odd? I do. Not that I'm a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but then it's gone on for so many years. And then if you read the response that the BBC wrote to the man who attacked that statue, they said, oh, it's not that we condone what Eric Gill did, fucked his daughters and the family dog, raped the dog and his daughters and anything that moved. We don't condone that, of course, but we separate art from the man. Well, ordinary people don't. They don't. And that's how the BBC is different to ordinary people. The BBC think they're better than ordinary people. Why don't they just say, we do condone it? We do condone paedophilia and we encourage it. Why don't they just say that?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Thank you. That would only be true if they had repeated paedophiles on their channels. So they probably don't even need to use the words. They just push these men in our faces consistently. Who else would like to speak? Yes. Let me just do this. And don't go too far, just because of the lead. Thank you.
Hello, I do feel a bit nervous, so forgive me. You've all said brilliant things about transgender. Oh, sorry. You said great things about the transgender. Not much to add other than it's the BBC's duty to tell us about scandals. So there's a huge sin of omission. I didn't know until I was locked in my house for 2 years. And then, we were all paid. Well, I wasn't actually, I did go to it. But I did spend a lot of time watching YouTube videos when we were all locked down during COVID. And then some of these things came up across my radar. The BBC should have brought them to our radar. That's what they're there for. I remember years ago having a debate with a colleague who was European and trying to make the case for the BBC. This is a long time ago, like 15 years, how we were so lucky. And that's why we paid. And I was wrong. Maybe 15 years ago there was less. I'm sure it's been going on for a long time, but it's so egregious now. And I want to say about COVID, I will never forgive you. I'm really not going to swear, because I swear a lot. I really can't forgive you, BBC, for colluding with locking people down, with children that were locked in abusive families. Social workers couldn't go and help families. People were dying in their own homes because they couldn't go out to hospitals because they were too scared. The whole thing was absolutely sickening, and they colluded with it. Fucking furious. And so I think if there are any sponsors out there like J.K. Rowling, we need to do these guys for extortion, because they are taking our money, but they're not doing what they said they would do. And be impartial. Why are we paying for our own propaganda? Are you kidding me? This is outrageous. This is extortion. It's only when there's a legal case, like the Supreme Court, like the Castro U, and then they listen. There must be a bit of law somewhere where someone can prove that we are being extorted for our own propaganda, for our own lie machine. Why don't we just pay Russia to do it? Why don't we all pay to Russia today? And Gaza bloody news. Why don't we just pay to all of them? I'm so angry. I'm really glad you came here today. I've been waiting to say this for a long time. I'm not going to swear anymore. But actually, see you next Tuesday, all of you. Thank you. Sorry. Sorry, I'm angry. Sorry. Oh, yeah.
Of course, the issue of men in dresses in women's spaces is not the only thing that the BBC has been woefully silent on, but also where are the numerous documentaries and investigations into the Pakistani paedophile Muslim rape gangs? Where are they? Where are the dramas? It was Nick Wallace that exposed much of the scandal with the post office that had been going on for such a long time that eventually the BBC catches up. But where is the documentary about the grooming gangs? Like, where are they? Oh, he's on ITV, so still not the BBC. Well, that's all right. Same. I mean, our licence fee also covers, our state money also covers some of the ITV. But I want to know where the drama series are about what's been happening for 7 decades to girls right up and down the country being raped by a very organised network of uncles, fathers, brothers, cousins, friends, mostly Pakistani, mostly Muslim, all paedophiles, all rapists. Where is it? So this is what our state broadcaster, this is what they don't cover. And I guess that statue up there tells us exactly why they don't cover it. Maybe they're somehow involved. Maybe there's too many links with the police and other corrupt forces in this country that means the BBC are totally incapable of speaking because they'll be telling on themselves. Anyway, who else would like to speak? It better be a good song.
It's good. I got some real verses from yesterday.
Good. Yeah, come close, otherwise we pull the mic.
Oh, yeah. All right, another musical interlude. If everyone can hear me. This isn't grok, this isn't AI, these are my own words and I'm not going to swear. Whose dick is this? Whose dick is this? We didn't ask for this dick through our door and we don't want it in our spaces. Whose cock is this? Whose cock is this? We didn't ask for this cock through a door and we don't want it in the hen house. Whose balls are these? Whose balls are these? We didn't ask for the balls in our game and we don't want them in our showers.
Thank you. And she's not even a professional. So, who else would like to speak? Otherwise, I'm going to let it go to the penis havers. Yes, come on. I always feel like John Burko when I say the penis havers. I feel like going, the penis havers have it. The penis havers have it. Anyway. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you, Kellie-Jay Keen, for running Let Women Speak, so that we can all talk about this because it's very difficult for us to air our views. And we're also disappointed with the media, but the BBC is by far the biggest disappointment. In 2013, the BBC changed its style guide, and I discovered this in around 2018 when I did a Freedom of Information Act request, and they changed their style guide, which is the root of all of the language that they use and obviously informs their whole approach to broadcasting and what they have done is they describe heterosexuality, opposite gender attraction, and they describe homosexuality as same gender attraction. And this is not compliant with the Equality Act, and I'm no fan of the Equality Act, but it is the law that we have in this country. And not only is it at odds with the Equality Act, but the style guide is also at odds with the Oxford English Dictionary. So on 2 counts, the BBC style guide is problematic. And I raised this with them, and I wanted to know who contributed to this, and they didn't want to discuss it, but eventually I found out it was Stonewall. Right? What a surprise. In 2013, Stonewall informed the BBC and gave them their training to change the style guides. And I do feel that this is at the root of the problem. And when I got into an argument with her about it, and I made these points, and there is no excuse for our national broadcaster to be breaking the law by having language that is at odds with the Equality Act. Who do you think you are? Exactly. And I've been paying my license fee because I keep thinking that at some point there will be enough exposure or something will happen whereby the BBC will come to its senses, or somebody in government will hold it to account. But what we've seen is the latest fiasco with the long dossier, the Prescott dossier, that covered many aspects that were very, very serious. The splicing of 2 videos on 2 occasions, Newsnight and Panorama did exactly the same thing twice. It's not a mistake, it's deliberate. And I know the media is very, very interested in this issue, because obviously the BBC could find themselves being sued by Donald Trump. Yeah. And good luck to him. Good luck. But the most egregious thing, I'm afraid, with the BBC is the propaganda, the transgenderist propaganda. It's not even the failure to cover the stories, it's the actual crap that they've put out, especially corrupting children. And to me, that's the most problematic element. But what we've seen is the BBC, despite this most egregious set of accusations that are well-founded, all they're interested in doing is covering their own backsides. There's not a single person that has stepped up and admitted fault. They're not addressing the issues, and I've come to the reluctant conclusion that I'm going to have to give up live TV because I am not going to pay my license any longer. And I urge people, we've given them a chance, because we all thought, didn't we, that once people knew the truth, all of this would end. But the truth is out there, and it's continuing. So unfortunately, and I feel very sad about it, because I'm a supporter of a national broadcaster, and I look back at the BBC's work, and the BBC was the bookmark to my day. I used to wake up, I used to listen to the Today programme, I used to listen to Woman's Hour, and then at 5 p.m, I would listen to that, and then I'd watch Newsnight, and then I might go to sleep with Sailing By, okay? And I used to love the BBC, and that's why to date I've been paying my licence fee, but no longer. So it's a very sad state of affairs. Yes, no taxation without representation. And we are the majority, okay? We're not a minority. All right, there's quite a lot of people here today, but the public stands with us. Yes. They do. Once the public knows the truth, they support us. So it's a sad state of affairs, and we just have to carry on campaigning. And don't pay your license.
I want us all to do a quick eye roll and say a big cheer for Martine Croxall. Thank you, Martine. We support you. We're so delighted that you eye rolled and correctly said woman. And absolutely scandalous that she was disciplined for that. Because it is not an act of impartiality to erase the word woman. It is an egregious and very aggressive use of language when you erase what we are and you reduce us to just merely people. We're the one that have the fucking babies. Anyway. Who else would like to speak? Yes. Let me just sit. Yeah, just. Yeah, great. Oh, yeah, that as well. Just thank you so much.
Sure. Wow. Hey, everybody. Thanks. Excuse my voice. It's a little dry. I was recruited to work in the UK 25 years ago. And typical, I'm going to name them, the bastards at the Henry George Foundation, thought that they didn't have to pay us. And I was recruited here. That's what they did. So there you go. That's not necessarily over either because they owe me more than a bankruptcy amount. And the barrister I went to told me that I should make it public. So even though it's over 2 decades ago, tough shit, excuse me. Right, so you can tell by my voice I'm from the United States. And a lot to say about that. I feel like I've been in exile from there for this long. Something that I did, I was working as a freelancer between the media and politics, which if you said that to me as a career choice, I would have just turned my head and rolled my eyes, but for my sins, I guess, that's what kind of wound up happening. I wanted to mention to you that back in, I think it was the beginning of January 2017, I was behind a suit against this wonderful organization behind us because one of their producers, who's not worth mentioning, but it's from another angle, she produced this woman. I don't know if she got an award from the other journalist union. I was involved with one of them, which I don't think very highly of, but for the BECTU union. So she was the I think producer, editor for 2 documentaries. The essence of it was to downgrade a person who was a victim, who became a high-profile person and very denigrated and scapegoated. We had to do it like that day. I was advising the person who wanted to bring the case because she was being exposed in this particular documentary, which was shown on BBC Two. But it was all about, they started with the Rashomon, the Japanese film thing about denigrating somebody's impression and perception. So, So we were so close, and for the sake of protecting the decent, the judge, if we had been able to fax the BBC, which I was pushing for, but the person I was working with wasn't able to do it, that day, that program would have been pulled that night. So I don't know how much hope that really provides in this the swamp of absolute shite. And the other thing that I want to say is that, we haven't had maybe, a million reasons to be proud of our president over there, but, I think he's doing himself good. I'm going to stick in something else, investigative work I've done. I'm related to someone he appointed, my family, I know this is a little different subject, if you just bear with me for a second. Because what they did, entitled as they are, Trump has appointed this person. I'm so disgusted. It's a close relative biologically of mine. And they sued our 96-year-old grandmother multi-millionaires had nothing else to do. So, and they, in my absence, while I'm in here, they signed a gag order. Well, I'm sorry, if this doesn't come right, they ain't gonna have too much longer to hide. So sorry you think you got away with it. No, you didn't. There's one other thing I want to bring out. Maybe this is a little coincidence. On Friday, I can bequeath this to you, my lady, the complete guide to dinosaurs and prehistoric reptiles. So maybe we can all afterward find who we resonate with, since they're trying to extinctify us. But also this professor, Michael Benton, who was an advisor here for the sake of this. It says his many books include Walking with Dinosaurs and the Historical Atlas of them. So he was the consultant. Where else? Series for here. So since we're out of real inspiration ideas, maybe I can leave this at the front desk or give it to one of your guards. Sorry, that's just my receipt. You could crumple it up. Yeah. So yeah, because obviously this is like dead as anything. And best wishes with your case, Mr. Trump. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers. Who else would like to speak? Yes. Okay, let me just give you this. Thank you. Thank you.
A few years ago, the BBC reported that trans milk is as good as human milk to breastfeed a baby. Talk about trans propaganda. It was based on studies mainly done on biological women who induced lactation. It was absolute nonsense, and terrible, terrible, terrible journalism. And it should not have been allowed. It's hard enough for women to breastfeed as it is, and women are, and mothers especially, are thrown under the bus. And the BBC needs to support mothers, and as well as all the reporting of females doing male crimes is just an absolute disgrace. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes. Say your name and introduce yourself. Where you're from? No, you don't have to. Do whatever you like. Thank you. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. So I'm talking here firstly as a mum, and then as a pink lady, because up and down the country, our children are being indoctrinated. It's coming through every direction and from everyone. Our children are not safe. What I do ask you, because what I'm doing with my child's school at the moment, is checking out what they are learning, because there is a lot of stuff going on that we don't know that they're learning, and it's not covered in the curriculum. I'm actually meeting with my child's school later today, because they are going into lockdowns that we're not being told about. We are also understanding that through the religious studies, through PSHE and Pride Britain. So all I can say to you is that as a mum, I am scared of what my children are growing up into, and then what my grandchildren, because I also have 3 of those. And I'm scared of what the ideologies of what other people perceive that our children should learn. When I was at school, it was the 3 R's. Now, before someone shouts at me, it was reading, arithmetic, and writing. It was called the 3 R's. You went to school, you learned those 3's, you had fun, you didn't listen to any other ideology, and more or less you just had fun at school. Now our children are going to school, they are scared, they are frightened, they don't know what to think, they are confused. I didn't confuse my child. I gave birth to 1 female and 1 male. Now, when they grow up and whatever they decide to do, that's up to them. But as they are children, they're my responsibility, and no one is going to tell me what to do with my child. And this is what we are doing, and we are fighting against the pink ladies up and down the country. So thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Who else? Who else? Who else? I'm going to go to the men. Okay. You spoke yesterday. Yeah. Is that right? Right. Okay. I guess men. Oh, did you want to hang on before this? I know he's a very special man, but would you order his order so you can come and talk about a different man?
Thank you. You were far away.
Thank you.
Let's see if I can get my thing sorted. Okay.
Yeah, nice and close. I know you've got a nice voice.
The statement, in a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act, is often misattributed to George Orwell. It sounds like him. It doesn't appear in any of his writings, but it first appeared as a quote in a book by Venturino Venturini, all credit to him, who attributed it to Orwell. However, there is a statue of George Orwell just round the corner. If you walk up there and turn to the right, it's ironic, yeah. But he used to work here, probably in room 101. And together with his words on the wall, if liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. And I think that ushers in Graham now, and yourself.
A great friend to the BBC. Come. And let me give you your microphone as well. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's when I come to Let Women Speak events that I remember the height differential between men and women. I feel like Dorothy in Oz. As you may have known, as you may have seen, I've been getting a bit more press since I announced that I was non-binary. And it's been quite a whirlwind, but of course nothing on the BBC, because any good news for women is bad news for the BBC. It's been 10 years now that this organisation, which I once would have gone to the barricades for, has been lying to the British public. I spoke to Kath Lang, who knows more about the BBC and news gathering than most people, and she says that they have not learned a single lesson from the recent report. What was the name of the guy? Prescott report. They and also you've noticed that the self-interested journalists have been pretending it's all about Trump, whereas in fact it's all about the consistent lying that the BBC has engaged in for 10 years, while thousands of children have been put through gender clinics, mutilated and sterilised. Hundreds of women have been cancelled and lost their livelihoods because the BBC has been consistently lying on this subject. So I agree with all the women today. I'm proud to say that in the 3 years before I left the UK, I stopped paying my licence fee. I would suggest to you that you all do the same and don't be frightened by their letters. They get worse and worse, but they never turn up. So stop paying the licence fee, and maybe we can help save the BBC from themselves. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, yes.
Any other penis haver? Yes? Come.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eldur Smári Kristinsson, and I'm from Iceland. Thank you very much, Kellie-Jay, for this opportunity to speak here today. I have a couple of notes. Usually I'm not scripted, but being in front of the BBC, it is the British state broadcaster, but the BBC has an international reputation, and what happens within the BBC matters in other countries. And for example, the Icelandic state broadcaster, they tend to write and translate news directly from the BBC and funnel it to the Icelandic people. For 10 years, I have been a so-called gender-critical gay rights activist. And before that, let me acknowledge, it's World AIDS Day today. I've been a HIV/AIDS activist before that time. But as soon as I started airing gender-critical views, all my good work in terms of HIV and AIDS awareness in Iceland was flushed down the toilet because I was the wrong kind of gay. In my activism, after I saw Kellie-Jay and this group of women, I stopped using and subscribing to the language of the transgender cult because language actually does matter. So I would like to say, without any shame, that castrated men are not women, and surgically mutilated men are not women. Some women here before have been mentioning this lot over there, reporting about men breastfeeding children. Okay, I have indirectly beef with this organization because of their reporting and others. I criticized men breastfeeding women, and I did say that it amounts to pedophilia, because if we only consider why a man who has not carried a child or given birth to it, why on earth would they want to breastfeed that child? For whom is it? Is it for the child or to satisfy some fetish or pedophilic urges? But because of their reporting, I have been under criminal investigation in Iceland for a year, and only in October in my libel case against the Icelandic state broadcaster, because this funnels down. This problem comes from there, but it spreads like cancer in the Western world. So I had to defend in court 6 weeks ago me criticizing men breastfeeding children. And do you know what? I loved every single minute of it. And do you know why? Because now it's in the court documents. Now there's document trail. But Iceland is in a really, really dangerous territory. We've also heard someone mentioning the WPATH files. I led the WPATH expose in Iceland, and the mainstream media, including the state broadcaster like BBC, boycotted our activities on the WPATH files. And because people do not know about the W files expose in Iceland, which should have been reported, I can now also announce in Gender Gilead, which is my country, unfortunately, the president of WPATH has now been appointed the head of transgender medicine in the state hospital of Iceland. She had to flee the country because of Trump. So the only good thing I can say about that appointment is obviously nobody in Iceland or in the European Economic Area for that matter, because I mean, legally, the state hospital has to advertise the position within the European Economic Area. Well, I will find out whether they've done so or not. But no one applied for the position. No Icelandic medical professional applied for the position, which is great. And nobody in the European Economic Area either, obviously, because why would we hire an American? Because why would anyone? Well, why? so this is the thing. Self-ID laws in Iceland have also been, completely unscrutinized because of silencing from the state broadcaster, and our laws are so awful that we have a convicted pedophile that was allowed to change their sex marker and is now roaming free as a woman after harming children as a man. Well, he's a man. So this is what I just wanted to say. BBC, shame on you. What happens in there funnels to other countries and other news organizations as well. So shame on you. And I hope that Donald Trump will sue you into oblivion.
Thank you so much. Thank you. No, take that. Thank you. Do you want to come and speak? If you don't go too far, because it won't reach. Thank you.
So clearly I'm not a penis haver, I'm a woman, and I was debating whether to speak or not. I've been here since this started, and there's a very well-known man here, and I noticed that a BBC broadcaster, who I won't name, who is on TV and radio, sidled up to him and asked him if he'd be on a podcast. That man made no attempt to talk to the women here. I'd remind the BBC that we are 51% of the population. 51% of the license fee payers, and we're here, and nobody has come down to speak to us. It's absolutely appalling. And if you wonder why people are not paying their license fee and why millions of people are turning away from the BBC, this is a perfect example of why. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for speaking, so I'm going to wrap up. I'd just like to say to the BBC, my name is Kellie-Jay Keen. I am leader of a very small but very important political party called Party of Women. I've done numerous things over the years. I've gone viral to the tune of 60, 70 million views on just simply saying, he's a man. And about 80 million views on saying, I'm not a vet, but I know what a dog is. I also kind of hit every news channel when it came to, or rather every news outlet, when it came to putting a dictionary definition of the word woman up. And I have changed conversations in countries. In fact, some of my words are in the executive order by Donald Trump, which gave women back their rights in the United States of America. And the reason I tell you is Women's Hour have never once asked me to come and talk about the activism that I've been doing, not even when I was nearly killed in New Zealand. I mean, I just think Women's Hour, if you can have Munro... Who is the bloke in the suit? Kellie-Jay Keen, my name is. Look me up. Invite me on. If you're a producer, that is.
Jenny Murray would have interviewed you.
Jenny Murray might have interviewed, but, you know, she never did. And who is it now running Women's Hour? Dave or someone, I don't know. It feels like Dave. It feels like a Dave is running Women's Hour. But, you know, we are greedy because we did have that whole hour 5 times a week where they pretended to look at women's issues, although actually looking at how men feel about women being pregnant was one of the things, and that was before they were totally captured. How men feel about women often is the topic of Women's Hour. So anyway, my name Kellie-Jay Keen, letwomenspeak.org. You can find me there. You can find me at Speaker's Corner, because we had to go to Speaker's Corner because you never fucking platformed any of us. And so we were silent, so we had to go out in public. That's why we're here. If you'd invited us on, we wouldn't have to do this. If you hadn't lied for the last decade about what was genuinely happening to women's rights and children's bodies, we wouldn't have to come here. If you hadn't lied repeatedly saying that women have fucking penises, we wouldn't have to come and remind you that no woman has a penis. No man has a vagina. There's no such thing as non-binary. And transitioning children is profound abuse. We're going to play out with the darling of the BBC, Billy Bragg. We're going to play his little song. But let me just say this. If you can come and speak truth to power, even when they have their fingers in their ears, then I promise we will win. If you can keep speaking and not paying your license fee and telling the BBC to go fuck themselves, I promise we will win. And do you know why else we're going to win? Well, because I never lose. Let me do this. Let me just find my files. Oh, come on, you git. Here we go. Yeah, 1 minute. Where are you? Where's misogyny? I might have to do, no. Oh, where are you git? I might have to play a different one. Fucking hell.
We don't need the mic anymore, do we?
No, but I do need...
Yeah, you get that.
I'll just start getting all this stuff away.
Thanks, Mary. What's these fucking songs?
Mary probably knows.
Were you not prepping it before?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, she does. What's it called?
It's got to be that one then. Oh, I hate you. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just one sec, sorry. Oh, will you fuck off? Sorry, this is me talking. Do that. We do. And Iris
The pub, the Yorkshire Grey.
Whereabouts is that?
Literally 5 minutes. So if you just go that street there, go to Great Titch Marsh, so you get to, and then you turn left, and it's only about 20 metres up there. It's really close. But we're upstairs. We've hired them upstairs. So yeah. But you got to stay for the dance there.
Well, here now.
Because she started doing these songs with so this one's Billy Bragg and called Misogyny. So yeah, honestly, they are worth it.
This is so good today, brilliant.
Isn't it? It was fantastic, isn't it?
Feminist charlatan, more than a bargain. And then I say I think women have cocks and that men look good in frocks, but also my ass on OnlyFans and claim that it's a feminist trend, but I sold out to anyone. That's the modern feminist charlatan's way. I'm a feminist where men go first. You see that I'm the worst. No wonder I'm so bitter. My feminism made life shitter. I wanted to sell out every girl for the magic of a man in her space. I wanted to make every last woman feel that I'm just a fucking disgrace. Feminist charlatan, more than a bargain. Then I say I think women have cocks and that men look good in frocks, but I sell my arse on OnlyFans and claim that it's a feminist brand, but I've sold out to any who pay. That's the modern feminist charlatan's way.
You're welcome.
Goes in the boxing ring, goes a race at a man in your changing room with a grin on his face. Don't be a bigot when he shows his dick. Don't feel so scared that you claim to fix.
Feminist charlatan.
More than a bargain, then I say I think women have cocks and that men look good in frocks, but I'll sell my arse on.
This is wonderful. I love it.
Feminist friend, but I've sold out to any who pay. That's the modern feminist charlatan.
Now, we've only known each other online. I'm Vanessa. Hi, as well. Yes, thank you so much. I've only known you online 10 years ago in the Amazing Lefty Women, and so I was one of those. And
we have no right to object.
All right, just give me a sec. Give me a
so we
sec.
come to the topic.
Okay, lovely. Right, just one sec. I'm going to try one more. No, I don't know who that is.
Is it Kellie-Jay?
Oh, that's a good idea. Let me go to Let Women Speak, and then we'll do misogyny, and then we'll fuck off. Let Women Speak. Oh, come on. on. Events. No, it's a PDF. Fuck off. Come on. Come on. Oh, fucking hell.
This is the infamous back thing you see.
Oh, it's really, I'm going to be cross in a minute. Let women
Everyone's going to. If you'd have just got it on the
speak.
phone.
No, because I can't find it, Mary. It was on the phone, but I don't know where it is. Sorry.
The three of you.
Just one moment.
I've sold more of my soul than any record. Celebrate the pimps and johns and call it equality. And just because you say you want rights for women, I'll pretend I don't know what a woman is.
Come on.
Misogyny, like a rocket fuel charging me. Misogyny, your boundaries don't apply to me. I love the brothels. You just done brilliantly. You're taking long. I'm a rock star for just one.
You start. Thank you.
Thank you. I claim I honor women, but I can't define the word. I pretend the concept of an adult human female is fundamentally absurd. I'm on the side of history if it was full of shit. And if you're
Looking for a good guy, I'm definitely not a misogyny.
like a rocket misogyny, your boundaries don't apply to me. I love
show you my rabbit.
Where I pretend I'm a rock star for just one.
Thank you. Welcome. Yes. Are you coming to the pub? Yes. Yeah.
Everybody sees how much my thinking is for cash. My cringe fest ways, my woke displays, and calling people fash parading.
Yeah.
Spewing Nazi for your consideration. Belittling women and their concerns is my ultimate masturbation. Misogyny, like a rocket fuel charging. Your boundaries don't apply to me. I love the brothels where no one makes demands for reason.
That was surprising, wasn't it? Nobody came to speak to you.
Your consideration. Ultimate masturbation. Ultimate masturbation.
Misogyny, like a rocket fuel
charging me. Misogyny.
Your boundaries don't apply to me. I love the brothels where no one makes demands for reason. Where I pretend I'm a rock star for just
one more season.
Misogyny, like a rocket fuel
charging me. Oh, come on.
Excuse me. Your boundaries don't apply to me.
Selfie instead. Thank you, Posie. Get a little sign in there, thought criminal. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Just one more season. Well done, everyone.
I've sold more of my soul.
All right, that's enough. Okay, good. Yeah, great. Let's turn this off. Well, just pack